Hi guys, Marika here with another coloring and card tutorial. Today I am coloring Tanzen by Little Miss Muffet Stamps. I want to just say I'm sorry about the sound quality. My mic is at home, I'm out traveling. It is midsummer here in Sweden that we are celebrating, but I wanted to get this video up to you anyway, so this is what you get. Um, Today I wanted to do a little bit more of a skin tutorial. I'm gonna do a bigger one later on, but that takes time and I wanted to give you this. So today we're doing a simple skin tutorial on how to simply do skin. And when I do skin, I work in 5 colors. This is because I like to have a very good blend, and the more pens you use with less kind of gaps, the better blend you get. I start out with my EO4, which is my darkest color. When I'm a little bit nervous about how to put shading and stuff, I usually go in with my lightest color first, but today I went in with my EO4 first, and I'm adding shading both where I would have a rounded shadow, but also where I would have a cast shadow. And the cast shadows is where something is casting a shadow onto you. Like for example, from her bangs, she have a cast shadow, while a rounded shadow is what kind of makes the 3D effect. And in her case, it is like the underside of her arms, underneath her chin, and such places. Then I'm going in with the E11, and the E11 is one of those colors that I don't really use to build up the shading. Instead, I'm just covering my EO4 with it to kind of lighten the EO4 and make it in a smoother blend, because the EO4 is one of those pens that are very strong. So I always go in with my E11 on top of it and try to just make it a little bit softer, push those pigments a little bit deeper into the cardstock so that it isn't really as dark, because I don't have like a mid-tone between the EO4 and the E11. The next step I'm doing with the EU4 is also adding her little facial feature, because today I didn't want to do like a nose and a mouth. Instead, I'm using this technique which I found from Janine Quinn, which is one of my or one of the my fellow DTs, that was the word I was after, on the Little Miss Muffet Stamp kind of Facebook group. So and challenge blog. So if you go there, you will find her creations, and she uses that little wrinkle on her face. The third color I'm going in with is the E21, and the E21 I use to just elongate the shadows that I did with the E11. So I'm just kind of blending it out towards the lighter part of the face to give her that 3D dimension. My cast shadows, I don't spread more with the other colors. They are just the line of the dark that I put out, while the other ones, I'm sorry, I have a kitty that wants attention. Yeah, the cast shadows, they are simply just the way they are, the line that they cast. The E00, which is my next to lightest color, I kind of color the whole image except for the smallest of the highlights. So this is where I kind of just leave the lightest highlights with this pen. I'm gonna color over them with my lightest pen, but the highlights are like thin slivers. So I just use the the 00E to leave those highlights, and then I use the E50 to color over and just tone down the highlights a little bit. And I use the E50 because it has a little bit of a yellow tone. If you want to go towards a more pinker tone, you could use the E000. So that's kind of the choices. Then I'm using the R32, which is a very strong pink, and I use a little bit of it on her cheeks, and then I blend it out with the R30 to just kind of tone it down a little bit and push it out, and then I blend that in with the E50. This time I went in with the E00 to kind of define that little fold a little bit. And then the E57 to do some dots on her face because I wanted her to have freckles. I kind of like, she needs freckles. This girl needs freckles. So today I added freckles. And to finish it off, I'm using my blue multiliner from Copic to give her blue eyeshadows. Something I did when I was younger. I had blue eyelashes. I actually had a blue mascara. It was my favorite one. But yeah, that is how I color skin, in this case color skin. Now I'm gonna go in with the rest of the coloring in my usual high speed. This is sped up by about 5 times, so all of the skin was real time. I have not sped it up at all, so that is basically the speed of how I color skin. And this was pretty simple skin. It was no added extra details or anything. I just wanted a simple, smooth blend, and that is how I worked to get it. I use the Make It Crafty blending paper to blend it all or color on, because that works very, very great with Copics. It both blends very good, but it also leaves details, so you can get those stripy details if you want them too. I'm using my tea grays just because been loving that gray quite a lot lately. So I'm using the teas for both the black and the grays, and just shading a little bit to give some dimension and get a 3D effect. For her lights and her tights, I'm using some RVs to get a pink, because I already picked out the hair color, which is going to be a blue-green, because right now I actually have teal hair. It's something I won't be sticking to, but right now I have teal hair, and I love the teal hair, so I thought, well, I'm gonna give her teal hair. She would look awesome. This is basically how I've been dressed most of my life. I kind of like these kind of black and greys and pinks, and nowadays when I'm over 30 I decided to also get cool hair, which I didn't have when I was younger. But I'm trying to give them slightly stranded look, but not super much, more of a highlight, zigzag highlight. And to finish it off, I'm gonna cut it out with my Cutter B scissors. As usual, I move the paper and not the scissors, which actually helps to get a cleaner cut. And also I cut very, very slowly. This is sped up by 5 times so that you don't fall asleep while I'm cutting. And to finish it off, I'm using my Martha Stewart craft knife to cut out those little pieces. So that is pretty easy. For the card, I decided I wanted to use the Perfectly Played paper by Lawn Fawn because it has this bright pinks and teals and turquoise colors, which I really love. And the paper I'm using, cardstock I'm using, is Audrey Blue by Simon Says Stamp. Cutting out this sending die, which has a coordinating stamp set, which I'm going to use later, in this Audrey Blue to kind of match it all together. I'm cutting out 3 of those, and then I'm adding glue on the back side. This is the Tombow Monomulti glue, and then I'm just adding them on top of each other to kind of build a little bit dimension and give them a little bit more of a stability. Added a total of 3 together, and then I'm just put them at the side to let them dry. Having wet glue on these makes you can move them around a little bit and will make it a little bit easier. I'm cutting down my Audrey Blue to fit on a card base that is 3 by 4 1/4. So the Audrey Blue cardstock is an 1/8 of an inch smaller on both sides, or on a side, and the other is 1/8 of an inch smaller, even less, the pattern paper. And then I just layer them on top of each other on top of my card base. To add my little Miss Muffet stamp character, Tanzen, I'm adding some 3M Scotch tape on the back side. Just peel off the paper and then add her. I'm pushing her down pretty good, and I'm pushing the tape pretty good onto her, because then it will stick and it will not fall off. Cutting 2 teeny tiny pieces of that 3M foam tape to put on the back side of my little die, but none in the middle, because the middle is going over her shoes. So I'm using some glossy accents, because that is what I had. That or monomulti, basically any wet glue works, in the middle, so it will stick to her shoes, and then you have the little foam tape on either side. Then we're gonna do the inside. I'm using the Happy Mail sentiment from the coordinating stamp set for that die, and I'm going to put it on the inside because I felt I didn't have room for more, and I didn't want to add more sentiment on the outside. I chose to make this size of a card so it just had the character and that little sending, and then we have the Happy Mail on the inside, which is stamped in some my favorite things, steel grey ink, hybrid ink. Then I'm adding some of this Wink of Stella brush pen, glitter pen, on top of my lettering, and finishing it off with some glossy accents. The glossy accents will always go on a little bit cloudy, but when it dries totally clear, so you kind of get a very shiny look, like it's lacquered, the text. And that was the card for today. I hope you liked it. If you do, please thumbs it up. If you have any questions or comments, just comment down below. Please share it with your friends, and if you want to see more videos like this, just hit that subscribe button. Here are 2 other videos that I made with the Little Miss Muffet stamps. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!